is poppin' thugs? Welcome back to the Mrs. Best Reviews channel. I am Mrs. Best. We are here to do another review of Nemesis. I am very excited. I did finish all of it. Me and Mr. Best did binge watch it. We meant to just watch episode 4 so that I could get the review up, but then we ended up watching episodes 4 through 8. I'm very happy with the series, but this review is for episodes 4 and 5, which were titled It Was a Good Day and Business Never Personal. A lot happened in these 2 episodes that I felt like I kind of had to combine them anyway. But before we get further into the video, I encourage everybody who is here to like the video. If you enjoy what we're doing, consider subscribing to the channel. There are playlists so you can get an idea of the type of content that I do. I am also always open to suggestions. I appreciate everybody who stops by and supports the channel, though, regardless on if you subscribe or not. Also, you can also check the links in the description of this video. There are lots of links to how you can contact me as well as to other great creators. Support another creator. It is not easy doing what we do on YouTube, especially if you have a day job. But let's get into these episodes. So Season 1, episode 4 kind of starts with Noah is having like some sort of a basketball game. He plays sports. Styles is there with Candace. Him and his wife are kind of on the good foot. He's trying to like actually be a dad and an active husband and all of those good things. But his fun is, of course, ruined again because Coltrane popped up because while they're corporations, his corporation donates to the youth. So he brought all of those kids sneakers that probably cost far more than $100. And Styles was noticeably upset because he's been trying to capture Train, and then the fool comes in there and donates. And it's like, how can you be mad at the person donating shoes, especially to the youth? But unfortunately, because Coltrane stopped by, Styles got ahead of himself. He's over emotional. He ends up missing his son's last shot, which pissed Candace off, and I'm sure it's going to upset his child. And it's all because Train is there, and he pretty much wants to follow him and see what he has going on. So he now wants Coltrane. He wants Ebony to help him play Candace. And I feel like Ebony is the type of character throughout this entire show who she really is for her man. She seems to just want to be with him, be around him. They got some serious love, or he has a magical man part, but Ebony is considering it. And I've been thinking the entire time watching the show up to this point, it is not a good idea for Styles to allow his wife to be in the dark on the situation with Coltrane, because people are starting to look at Styles at this point like he is crazy and like something is wrong with him. And maybe if you weren't a wife sooner than later, you could have had somebody on your side. But meanwhile, at the office, Styles learns about the results of the DNA test of the cup that he stole, trying to get the DNA of Coltrane. And it doesn't connect Coltrane to anything, but it does end up connecting Dion and Darren, aka Strowman. And I'm just looking in this whole show. Y'all know I'm a fan of power. Me and my husband, Father forgive us, I was waiting on them to pop Dion. I'm looking at Dion and I'm like, how much trouble does he have to get these people in? They're literally known by police because of him, and for stupid reasons. For stupid reasons. Like, really, Dion needs more money because he don't manage his money right, because he probably gambling it away, and then he got 2 families. Hot Mess Express is Dion. Like, honestly, a man that got multiple baby mamas and stuff like that, that shows a lack of self-control. If I was a criminal, I'd say, how many baby mamas you got? If it's so many and so messy, you can't be on my crew because you live your life reckless as it is. Absolutely not. I cannot. Dion makes my teeth itch in ways that I would never imagine. He really does. But they have been connected as part of this with the DNA. So we see Strowman with his kids, and Styles calls him on the phone and says that he wants to call him in so that he can question Strowman about what's going on. He doesn't get anywhere because Strowman has this whole macho, I'm not a snitch, F you cops era and energy. And it kind of told me like, this guy's either going to get hurt or shot. Like the way that Strowman moves, like at times I kind of respect it, but at other times I don't. But we learned that Strowman did play football with Styles. I guess they have a history of knowing each other. So he didn't get far. And then Strowman insulted his chicken and threw it on the floor. How you take just a bite out of a drumstick and then you throw it on the floor and talk about how it's not even that good? Rude. But I can't blame him. If I'm being questioned by the police, I don't know if I'd be throwing chicken. I'm just thinking of Black Ink Crew when Puma threw that chicken and Caesar just attacked him. Like, you just don't want to be throwing people's food. Anywho, moving forward, Charlie decides that she's going to pull up on her sister Ebony after meeting with Styles, and she wants to try and pull a coup on Styles' wife so that they can pretty much use him as a way to keep him from getting the coal train. It was the hot mess express with these two. Everything started to get really, really messy. They really want to do that. It seemed like to kind of have a distraction. However, unfortunately, Ebony does learn from Candace's big mouth that her sister, Charlie learns that her sister is pregnant basically through Candace. So I'm looking at the situation and I'm kind of like, it's interesting that she doesn't want her sister to know that she's pregnant. Their relationship is super warped. It doesn't really make much sense to me. But her pregnancy, I'm surprised she's still keeping it going considering how stressed she is. But during all of this time, Train and his crew decide to rob a warehouse. They're doing a job for Ebony's sister, Charlie. While they're doing that, Styles is at home having dinner with his wife. He's trying to get things back on track. However, he ends up learning about the potential case on the warehouse, and he knows that Train is up to something. Styles wants to go after him, but Jimmy is stopping Styles because it involves ketamine. And Jimmy was, you know what? Justice for Jimmy. Jimmy was stressed out episodes 1 to 8 by Styles. It's like Styles just would not listen to this man. This is a shipment of ketamine, which means that drugs are involved. So this is beyond Jimmy. As Jimmy told Styles, this is the DEA and the FBI. He said the motherfuckers that wear windbreakers. I was weak when he said that because they do always wear a windbreaker that says FBI, DEA, but they are above him. That's federal. Like, you're trying to, like, Styles is so focused on just trying to catch Coltrane by any means necessary that he's not thinking about how he's making stuff worse, how his emotions may be clouding his judgment. Like, and this is where people start to like really notice that Styles might be a problem. He starts to lose trust within a lot of people in the department, including Jimmy, who's not really like losing trust, but just seems more so concerned. But bro, if there's a huge shipment of drugs involved, you have to know that the DEA is involved. And we have to remember that Charlie is the one that put Train and his crew on this warehouse for this job. And Train was already concerned because he said it was extremely risky. And we know that Andre, he's sniffing stuff and threatening Charlie. You can't trust nobody that's getting high on their own supply. That's a mess. But Charlie gets a phone call from Andre, and Andre lets her know that the deal is off in the middle of these niggas hitting the lick. He's like, yep, the deal's off. I changed my mind. And so Charlie basically has to tell Train and his crew that they are no longer going to be making $9 million or whatever big number it is. And they've already kind of implicated themselves. This is why I couldn't be a criminal. You're not going to call me when I'm already halfway through some shit that I've done that's illegal. I've already done something that could put me behind bars. Now you calling me, talk about you changed your mind like you Keisha Cole. That's not something that I would accept. If I was Trained, I would have cussed Charlie out, read her for filth. But the one thing that seems to keep Train on track and respectful is his wife. Like, you could say a lot about Coltrane, but Coltrane loves him some Ebony. Now, when Coltrane tells his crew that they have been pulled and they are no longer to proceed with the robbery, this Negro Dion had the audacity to get upset, talk about he want the money, he got mouths to feed. The whole reason it's hot and the whole reason Styles and the police are on their ass is because of Dion's dumb ass. And now he has the audacity to come up in there talking about he's not accepted that the job has been called off. He's not the number one. He's not the number two. He's the fuck up. He's the evil stepchild. The Hot Mess Express. He done got them in so much stuff. Dion is a liability and should have been gone long enough. And he really think he could say something. He really irked my soul. He genuinely irked my soul. But Coltrane and the crew, they agree, like, okay, they not gonna proceed with the job because they've been told to cancel it. Now, we later see Styles gift his wife with a beautiful necklace. He got a camera in the necklace. He is spying on Candace while she is at Ebony's house, which is absolutely crazy. Because I feel like I've maintained this in every review. Styles should have been keeping it real with his wife from the very beginning. If he was keeping it real with his wife from the beginning, he wouldn't have had to sneak fake jewelry on her. She's thinking she's getting a gift of this, a necklace that's a camera so that he could know and hear things about what's going on with Ebony and Coltrane through his wife. That's messed up. You're putting your wife in harm's way when you don't have to. He's too invested in the case. And now I see why she's looking to leave him and fighting off her little feelings for the DA, Mr. Malik. Like, you can't really blame Candace because the way that he moved just did not make any sense. Like, nothing in life mattered but catching Coltrane. But she goes and she sees Ebony, and Candace tells Ebony about the case and how it's driving Styles crazy. And I'm like, why would you tell her that? Like, why would you talk to anybody about your husband's case if he's in that field of work? Like, who's your brain? Aren't you supposed to be a doctor, Candace? Like, what are we doing? I don't understand it. But Candace then gives Ebony the spa packages that Candace's sister Charlie gave to her. And now Ebony is aware that Charlie is involved. So that definitely told us a lot. We do later get to see Dion and Darren, aka Stroman, at Dion's mom's house. He brings the kids by. It's his mother's birthday. They're trying to have a barbecue and a good time and do what people do. But they end up slipping away from the festivities. And Dion goes to talk with Train, who's saying that since he needs to work, he is willing to work with Dion financially. Because Train really viewed Dion's dumbass and his crew like his family, which you have to be careful who you loyal to, because just because someone means you well don't mean they won't put you in a pickle. But Train pretty much has Dion call his wife and tells her that he's going to wire $500,000 from Wilder Corporations into their bank account in the morning. And he's letting Dion know that he's going to set him up, since he claims he got mouths to feed. He's letting Dion know that he's going to set him up to basically have legal residual income so that he could take care of his wife and be okay. Dion got mad at that. The audacity of this fuck up. He got mad at Coltrane for taking care of his wife and feeding the mouths that he'd been bitching about having to feed. And he had just come up on like $86,000. So I was like, what are you doing? But Coltrane offers to do this to him, tells his wife it's going to happen. Dion's mad because he says he could have flipped that $500K into $1 million. That's why he's got a gambling problem. Like, you're never fucking satisfied. Like, what's actually wrong with you? Like, Dion is just not smart. Train asks him to give him his word, like, you know, don't flip it, do the right thing. But Dion's obviously still moving funny. We later get to see Ebony reporting on Candace to Charlie. She pretty much lets her know what's going on with Ebony and that she has issues in her marriage. But Ebony's sister Charlie still doesn't seem to like the fact that Ebony is getting close to Candace, which I can understand. That is stupid. Nobody should have allowed that, not Coltrane or Styles, but it's very difficult to control a Black woman. So at least they wrote it in that way. We do get to see Dion go to Troy the Asian member of the group, and Dion steals a red key from Choi. I don't know why Dion would steal from his own people, but it's given that Dion is pretty much setting up to still try and hit this lick so that he could get the money. If the job is canceled, why are you still trying to go for it? Like I was wondering that the whole time. I'm like, this guy Dion just is absolutely stupid at the brain and does not listen. He just doesn't listen. And then you're stealing from your person, so you breaking trust in the group. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Now, later on, we see Train comment about Andre being traced. And we also see that Dion has been gambling and he won some money, a considerable amount of money. He should have took his black behind back to his mama's house to finish his family event for his mother's birthday. But he did not. We later see Styles, and he hears from a partner who works in the drug force. So their job is to look for drugs, such as the ketamine that Dion's dumbass is chasing. And it turns out one of the undercovers that's a part of Dion's deal is working with the police. This is not a person that he can trust. So either way, pretty much we know at this point that Dion is fucked. He's in a trap because his face has now been identified even further as somebody trying to do something illegal. So regardless of what happens, pretty much Dion is screwed. Now, Styles, instead of going home to his wife who had lobster ready, he was tripping, decides to get into a car and do the ride along to go arrest and grab Dion. His wife ended up texting Malik, the DA, who is also her ex, because he didn't come home. I don't know why Styles could not call his wife for the life of him. Like he did eventually end up on the phone with her, but there are moments where you're just driving a car and you could have had her on speaker. Like, I can't talk for long. I'm on the way right now. I'm not going to make it home. Like, let the woman know where you're at. It's almost like he want her to be with somebody else. I don't understand it, but Styles is so caught up in everything. But we later see that Dion is caught by Choi. Choi sees that Dion's been stealing from him. And he tells Choi that he did it because he swear they're going to get paid. But unfortunately, he's not going to get paid because Styles and all of the police end up coming to intercept the drug deal. And they came in loud, which my husband was saying that was crazy. How the police just came in loud. But Dion is surrounded by police, stuck in a warehouse with a bunch of drugs. Enough drugs to where he will never get out of jail. He's the only one there. He's pretty much fucked. And Style has Dion call him. He gave him the number, and Dion's dumbass called. I said, by you calling him, you confirmed you're in the warehouse, dumb. What if he could have had the wrong person? For all you know, you could have found a way to slip out of there. Like, Dion just did not think at all. But he agrees to come out of the warehouse and ask Styles for 2 minutes. He ends up putting gasoline all over the ketamine in the product, burns it to smithereens, opens the door, shoots at the cop, and of course, like a dummy, all of the police shot him, and we get to see the demise of Dion. It's about damn time. Dion should have been died, but the fact that he chose his own death and they tried to give him some sort of dignity irritated me. He really was stupid, and he's the entire region. Cole Train and his crew are caught up. If he wasn't part of the crew, they may have never been caught. But we get into season 1, episode 5, which is Business Never Personal. And Dion's wife has learned that he's no longer alive. And the police said, yo, nigga dead. Now we coming in. We got a warrant. No RIP, no condolences, no this coroner location is where he's at. They said we coming in the house and searching everything. I said, that poor lady. That has to suck. But we did see Styles and Coltrane. They end up meeting at the graveyard. Coltrane was there visiting someone, and they had a conversation, pretty much just a little banter as they always do. But Coltrane made me giggle because he said that he's not a criminal. He's a job protector. Are you a life protector? Okay, because the jobs you be giving people be putting them at risk. Look at what Dion was forced to do. But then again, he was stupid. But we also see that Dion burning the evidence was actually a smart thing because it did make it a little bit more difficult for the police to pin things to Train and his crew because they don't have the drugs. But I also felt like Train sending the money to Dion's wife is going to expose a connection from Wilder Holdings and him directly to Dion, who's all sorts of wrapped up into illegal stuff. And it does, because they end up searching Coltrane's corporation, Wilder Holdings. They also search his house. They froze his assets. And Styles took it there and made it personal by destroying the baby room. And you could tell that this is where Ebony realized that it was personal with Styles, and she kind of clocked in and was like, I got to protect my husband. Because I think Ebony realized that Coltrane doesn't have control of this cop and doesn't realize how emotional this cop is, and he might be a little too comfortable. But he shouldn't have fucked up that baby room, because she was really, you could tell that room was keeping her ass together. But after the police trash and search the house, Ebony and Coltrane talk, and she says that she now wants him to handle the situation herself, and she wants him to sit his ass still somewhere and not be involved, which is fair. Even my husband was saying, watching this, like, he should have listened to his wife. Like, she was really trying to look out for him, but he kept making it difficult. She also told him they needed to be done with the life, but he was not listening, and she was not aware of how dark her sister was. So meanwhile, all of this stuff is happening, and Dion's family is trying to mourn his death. We see Strowman, Dion's mom, his kids, his wife. They're all at the hospital trying to identify the body. And Styles pops up and pretty much in front of the family gives Strowman an opportunity, like, they could see him, but me and you gonna talk. And he tries to offer Strowman a deal to give him Train, but we know that Strowman is not really going to do it. But based on how things go in the latter of these episodes, maybe he should have. But we also get to see Ebony finally stand up to her sister Charlie. She also calls Candace to tell her what Isaiah did to her house into the baby room. This is where we start to see Ebony becoming much more strategic in what she does as it relates to her friendship with Candace. Once he destroyed that baby room, Ebony said, fuck that, I'm going to take care of my husband and nobody else. I'm not mad at her for that. But I'm kind of irritated with Ebony, because it's like, if your man don't listen and he got you wrapped up in all this bullshit, at what point do you cut it off or teach him a lesson or listen to your sister? I don't know. It's just, Ebony was highly emotional, but she's also pregnant and probably thinking, like, that's my baby daddy. He got to stay alive. But she tries to sway Candace and invites Candace to a coffee shop. And I do worry for Candace, because Candace has not proven to be the smartest person on this show by any means. Now, Styles goes by his dad's house, professes all of these things and tries to patch things up for him, because that's what Candace would want him to do. But unfortunately, after saying all these kind words to his dad, he does see that his son is in the house when he goes in just trying to kick it with him. And he loses his shit because his son's sitting at the table drinking 40 ounces and smoking weed. I would be mad too. There's no reason for him to be smoking. Like, you could bond with your grandson without getting him high. Like, you can. But Styles says some unforgivable stuff to his dad, talked about he was always a loser and wishes he was able to arrest his dad. As soon as he said that, I was like, you can't say that to somebody who's trying to do right when they used to do it wrong. You cannot say things like that. You can't. But he pulls his son up out of there. And we get to see Train's crew. They are upset at Dion's death, which pissed me off. They want smoke and blood with Styles and the police for killing Dion. But I'm like, are they not aware that Dion shot at the police? What the fuck did you expect? The police not to shoot back? Anybody would have shot back. He shot an automatic rifle at those people with fire behind him, like he's having some fucking Hellraiser moment, and he got shot back. Dion was a dumbass. And I'm like, why does this crew make, like, excuses for Dion? And really, when you look at how the whole show ends, in hindsight, like, Dion literally was the demise of this crew. Like, hot mess express. But they won't beef with Styles because of this, and they're angry, they blind, and they want their revenge. So Dion's wife, we get a little scene where she goes by the baby mama's house. I guess Dion, we saw that he had two families. I didn't know one of them was the legal wife that he had kids with, but then he had the side chick, little Hispanic mommy, who had his twins. His wife goes by, let the baby mama know that he's dead. And she learns that that lady had no idea that Dion was married. That lady didn't have no idea that Dion was with the shit. He was just fake as hell to her. Lord help us. But I was like, I guess that's nice of you to tell the side chick, but I couldn't do it. I wouldn't have stayed with a man knowing he had a second family. I don't know what the fuck that was about, but okay, girl, do you. They always got to ride a bird into the show. Caw. I don't understand. I don't. But we see that Styles, Detective Styles, and District Attorney Malik learn that Train has a lawyer who is now threatened to sue the LAPD, and they pretty much feel like they have less evidence now for the case and for the court because the supply of drugs was burned when Dion went out. And Styles is losing his cool, and Jimmy had to check him, but I think it's too late. And I feel like Styles is at that point where he's just kind of gone kooky. We do see Train go to Isaiah's house, Detective Styles, and he overhears Isaiah's son talking with his dad, Nightmare, who we have to remember Train also did time with in the Lancaster prison. So Styles ends up getting a hint from the DA that he needs to catch Train in the act, but by this time it's too late. It's way too late. We see people that are involved with Coltrane illegally. Styles' rookie catches pictures of them, but the problem is when Styles' rookie catches pictures of illegal acts, Choi, who is still cool and part of Coltrane's crew, caught a photo of Styles' rookie, so now they're aware that he's on their ass. I said the show was just moving along. Candace and Malik were on some bullshit. Styles is running around, stuff's going down. Candace is just oblivious to everything and knows that her husband's not available. So now she's interested in her ex-boyfriend Malik again, and they end up kissing in a public place. And Ebony catches a photo of it, which I know for a fact she's going to use later. My thing is, and my husband said this, why the F are you guys kissing in public? You couldn't hold it for a minute and get into a tinted car? He is the district attorney. He don't need to be seen with somebody else's wife. And she's somebody's wife. Why are you cheating on your husband? Just leave him. She keeps saying they're separated, but Candace and Styles separation to me is bullshit. He's sleeping on the property still. Like, if you're separated, the person is not in the neighborhood. But Candace and Malik is kissing, and I'm just looking like, not her creeping on the come up. I just cannot. And Malik ain't shit either. Because what are you doing, Mr. District Attorney? Now we see something very concerning. Styles decides in another scene that he's going to call in a favor to the cartel. And now he is officially labeled a dirty cop. Now, at the beginning of this season of this series, we saw Styles protect the daughter of a member of the cartel. And he and this man, I guess, have somehow become friends. The man said that he would give him a favor. And Styles called in that favor and asked him to kill Coltrane Wilder. The cartel guy did make him say it, but it's kind of a big deal because it shows a turning point. Like, Styles is willing to throw away his clean reputation, the way that he's done his job, his morals and his ethics, just to catch this man. And I understand that he killed his former partner, but like, would your former partner want you acting like this? Like, it's crazy that you could just go that far. But it seems like he was more in love with the idea of winning and wanted to do whatever he could to avoid losing. It was a mess, but Coltrane has definitely become a nemesis because he got him compromising who he is and all these crazy things. Now, Choi lets the group know that Andre is the reason that Dion was killed. Andre is the one that set them up. He was shady. He also set them up with the bad delivery, and they are aware that there's an Armenian rat within the cartel that they thought they were working with. So now Coltrane's crew has made the decision to go after Andre and Styles. I think this was dumb. If they went after anyone, I think they should have went after Andre and left it there. I think to go after Styles as well was not smart. Let me know how y'all feel in the comments, but I feel like they should have done one at a time versus trying to tackle both at one time, because then you're rushing. And if I'm committing crimes, I wouldn't want to rush. I would always want to make sure that it's like well thought out. But you know, Choi tried to run this group, warn this group a couple of times, and it seemed like the group didn't listen to Choi too much, but he always had like valid information and he had the military background. I feel like the group should have listened to Choi. Now we get to see Charlie and Train meet up, and they discuss killing Andre. Train pretty much agrees and has a setup. He calls Nightmare, which is Amos Styles, who is Detective Styles' father. He's got a tumultuous relationship with him. He knows that his father used to be with the shit, and Train did time with him. By him calling the father, I'm like, why would he call his dad suddenly? Like, why would that happen? That's crazy. Now, the dad, of course, agrees because him and Styles got into it. So he's concerned that Styles isn't going to be helping him to pay his bills no more. He ain't trying to live off of his Social Security and his WIC, which I thought was women, infants, and children. Maybe they have a senior program. I don't know. But his dad is doing this basically for money and saying fuck it because his son don't mess with him no more. Now, we later see that Styles' partner, Yvette, has figured out that he bugged his wife, and now she further does not trust him because of how crazy he's been acting. She lets Styles know that she's asked for reassignment and wants a new partner. And one of the cops, Detective Harper, tips them off that Styles is on the way as these people are going to kill Andre. Now, on the way to kill Andre, Styles' dad, the job that Amos plays, aka Nightmare, his job in heist when he does stuff like this is usually just to be the getaway driver. They had him touching weapons and all types of stuff. His hands was bare, prints on everything. But Styles and his crew, if you pay attention, they were all wearing gloves to protect themselves and to not leave prints. So that let me know they trying to set up Styles' dad as a way to get to him since they can't get to him. And this is where they kind of fucked up because y'all really could have just killed Andre, made it impossible to solve, and left it there. But instead, you want to get back because that show Nemesis, there goes show title. You want to get back at him by bringing his dad into some stuff. And really, all he did was fuck up the church's pieces of change for everybody involved at the service. That's all he did. Hot mess express. So they go to kill Andre. Andre slips away into a panic room. The panic room don't mean shit because they threw some sort of a smoke grenade, smoked Andre out. He opens the door and is shooting, but he's instantly popped. They talking about they're going to have Amos, aka Nightmare, take the fall for the murder so that they're not caught. Now they pull off, they get back into the car. They pulled off the murder perfectly. Amos has no idea that he's the person everything's going to get pinned on, and he's driving off. Now they get to the light and they see the shady cop that called to warn them that Styles was on the way. They see him in traffic. For whatever reason, it looked like Strowman shot them through the glass, and there's going to be a shootout in the next episode. For the life of me, I do not understand why Strowman shot, especially if the cop warned you that he was on the way and looked like he wasn't going to say shit. You didn't really have to shoot. But I'm happy because they got active and now the show is extra, extra entertaining. But that is it for this review. Be sure to catch the next review that I'll be doing, which will be of episodes 6 and 7. I will be doing those two in a few days. So be on the lookout for the premiere on the channel. I do hope that you guys consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel. I do appreciate everybody who watches our reviews. If you have a show you're interested in me covering, just let me know. I am always here for suggestions, but I would give this episodes 4 and 5, I would give a 10 out of 10. I was highly entertained. They did very good at building up the plot for what's going to happen. Let me know how you guys were rated in the comments. Other than that, I hope you have a good day, and I'll see you for the next review. Adios.